It's 3rd and 26. And the one timeout left.
No.
Disaster in the making here. You're going to have to do something when it comes down to this play.
Zings it down the field, twisting, turning inside the 5 as time expires for Roma Dunze.
Incomplete, and the game is over.
Everybody's standing around in stunned disbelief on both sides. Something happened down the stretch here. It did not make sense. What in the world?
You can't always make the right play.
We just did.
We realized we got a timeout, and it's like,
I don't know why we didn't call a timeout, but
I like what we did. Didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
Not everyone's as happy as Stephen A. Smith right now. Leftovers and us. Elle, we're very happy to be in Central Connecticut right now. I don't know what he's talking about.
I was going to say, some people say that Central Connecticut is like the South Beach of New England, so I feel really good about it.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Take. There's our guys, RC.
no one's ever said that.
That's
so.
well.
I've never heard that in my life.
Okay.
I've never heard that in my life, Elle. I've never heard it, not one time.
I did want to say, Stephen, I do love the jacket. It feels very on brand for Thanksgiving. You sort of look like the top of a sweet potato casserole, so it's perfect.
Hey, it works for me. If I'm gonna take that as a compliment, I'm gonna say thank you.
Cam,
I'm gonna
RC,
take
how
that
we
as a
feeling,
compliment. I'm gonna
guys?
say thank you.
Good, y'all.
We good.
Happy holidays.
We good. We good. Are you all right, Molly? There's a lot of food around Thanksgiving. Are you okay? Are you okay? That's what I want.
Grown woman.
You
I
all
don't
right?
skip meals, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
You shouldn't.
Excellent. All right, let's get into
You
it,
shouldn't.
guys. We start with a wild finish in Detroit. 36 seconds remaining, trailing by 3 points after putting together a furious second-half comeback. The Chicago Bears were in position to tie or defeat the Lions on Thanksgiving Day, but bad late-game clock management with a timeout left in their pocket assured the Bears another loss as time ran out on Chicago to solidify a 6th consecutive loss. Let's hear from them post-game.
In that situation, I'm living with the call, and I'll let the coaches and everybody make that decision.
no, it's tough. I feel like we did enough as players to win the game.
I like what we did there. Again, once it's under 7, you're gonna call timeout there, or actually under 12, and then really you don't have an option. Because it's 3rd to 4th, you got to throw it into the end zone then. So to me, it's I think we handled it the right way. I do believe that you just re-rack the play, get it in bounce, and call timeout, and that's why we held it, and didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
S.A., coming to you first. Just make it make sense for me.
Oh, it can't make sense. There's no, it doesn't make sense. I can't pull that off. I can pull a lot of things off on national television. I can't pull that off. As far as I'm concerned, RC, Cam, Elle, that man Eberflus should have been fired the minute they landed back in Chicago. He shouldn't have even been. Listen, if it were me, he might have been fired at Ford Field. I mean, he would have took a commercial flight home. It was just that egregious. It was just that bad. To have about 30 seconds left, you don't have you have a timeout available to you. You don't call a timeout. You don't spike the ball. You don't provide any kind of instructions whatsoever. You're looking at Caleb Williams looking for instruction. He's your rookie, for crying out loud. You don't provide it to him. And this is just the latest and the most egregious in the litany of errors involving this man as the coach. I mean, in one-score games, his record is abysmal. We all know this. It's been the case since he's been the head coach. It's one of those situations yesterday where he's just looking around, and then to have the post-game conference where he's talking about he didn't think he did the wrong thing. He just seemed detached from reality. His key card shouldn't work at the practice facility, at Chicago Bears facility. It should automatically, he shouldn't be allowed in the building. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. He should have been fired. And I understand. I'm not one of those guys that's looking at it and saying that the guy that, since Waldron has been gone and the guy replacing him as the offensive coordinator working well with Caleb Williams, he should be inserted as the head coach. That's not where I'm going. I'm saying you got to get the cancerous effect out of that locker room. That head coach is no head coach. You got to get rid of him. It should be quick, fast, in a hurry. I'm disappointed that we're here today and he has his job at this particular moment. He should have been fired the second that they landed back in Chicago. The Hail Mary against Washington, the blocked field goal, close game situations where he seems just devoid of anything. And then I looked at this stat, guys, and I'll leave it to y'all. The Bears are the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose 6 straight games despite not throwing a single interception. The first team in the Super Bowl era to do that. It's really, really bad. It is time just to get that negative effect out of the locker room. the players don't respect their head coach. They may like him as a person, but they don't respect him as a head coach. They know that he's ill-equipped for the job. The decision should be made. He should be going right now.
Elle?
Yeah, Stephen A., you mentioned it. He's 5-19 in one-score games, which is the worst record in NFL history for coaches that have at least 20 games in that same scenario. This is the most delusional post-game press conference since Carolina Hurricanes coach Rod Brindamore said, minutes after getting swept, we didn't actually get swept. And to me, that's the most fireable offense, is the idea that you do what is the worst endings to a game that we've seen in some time. Personally, I think since Super Bowl 51, when you decide to throw the ball instead of run the ball, it's fine. But also because, to your point, this has been a trademark of the Matt Eberflus era. I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking of Week 4 last year. You probably wouldn't remember the game. I would, because the Bears were playing the Broncos. And in a late-game situation, the game was tied, and he had an opportunity to kick a field goal, and instead he chooses to go for it on 4th down. Predictably, they don't get it. Predictably, the Broncos get the ball back, move down the field, score the game-winning field goal to end the game. It's absolutely nonsensical that you would do something like this and then not, afterwards, fall on the sword and say it was a huge mistake. He literally said, Cam, we did it the right way, then laid out all the ways they should have done it better and said, but we did it the right way. It just absolutely makes no sense. You've got to fall on the L on this one and say, I made a huge mistake. I've flubbed this, and because of it. By the way, you guys, it would have been a 58-yard field goal try. Like, it's not like it would have been a historical attempt at a field goal. And Cairo Santos, his career long was 55. So you're asking him to make a kick that's about 3 yards longer than he had before.
Well, let's just pump the brakes and let's put things into reason, because when you look at a situation, is it the frustration? Yes. Is the house on fire? Yes. But this is all pointing back to you knew or you should have known what you was getting yourself into from the Chicago Bears organization. This is the first time he's ever been a head coach, right? This is the first time that he's ever been in these type of situations, obviously with a lot of games up under his belt, but it takes a different type of person. It takes a different type of coach to coach the whole gamut of a team. When I look at, Caleb Williams' development, it has definitely been being impacted by the blunders of decision-making. But the reality is, I think it's a little too much to fire him right now. I'm the guy that's looking at the recipe for success for great coaching and quarterback duos. Obviously, the Brady Belichick, the Mahomes, Reed, Jackson, and Coach Harbaugh. And the list goes on. So I'm not just so quick to just jump off, the boat right now. Is he delusional, Elle? Absolutely. But the reality is still the reality. They have an extremely talented team. Were they supposed to be more competitive in this game? Absolutely. There were some things that you can win from, but to just cut them off, cut his key card off, Stephen, I wouldn't be so fast with that one.
Okay, let's go through it then. Sean McVay was a first-time head coach. He's a Super Bowl winner. John Harbaugh was a first-time head coach. He's a Super Bowl winner. Mike Tomlin was a first-time head coach. He's a Super Bowl winner. Hell, let's not even go with the whole entire league. Dan Campbell, he's a first-time head coach. The Detroit Lions are pretty damn good. Kevin O'Connell, he's a first-time head coach. And also the Minnesota Vikings are pretty damn good, too. Matt LaFleur, he's a first-time head coach. The Green Bay Packers are pretty damn good, and that's just the people that are in his division. And let's think about the fact that it took 30 seconds to get a playoff in that sort of moment, in that scenario, when in 2 minutes, you don't want to take 30 seconds to get off any play if you're actively trying to score. Yes, it's 3rd down and 26. How can you move the football forward at 36 seconds in order to get Cairo Santos in a better position to kick a field goal? Because we saw him get a field goal block against the Green Bay Packers a couple of weeks ago when you could have won the game in Thomas Brown's first game as the offensive coordinator. Also, on the sideline, why is there no conversation going on? Why is Matt Eberflus sitting there with this confused look on his face like he doesn't know what the hell is happening while his young quarterback is frantically trying to get his team to the line of scrimmage when the wide receivers aren't running, when the running back isn't running, and when the offensive linemen are looking back at this rookie quarterback trying to figure out what the hell he's going to tell us to do. And then finally, when you get the playoff, he seems like he's the only person that understands they don't have another play, so you got to take a shot for the end zone. And then after the game, you hear Keenan Allen say, you know what? We as players did the right thing. You hear DJ Moore say, I don't know why we didn't call a timeout. And Caleb Williams said also, I was just going with the play that was called because he's a rookie quarterback that needs some direction and needs some leadership. What we're seeing from Matt Eberflus is not just coaching malpractice. It is fireable offense after fireable offense. I don't care if you keep him the rest of the year or if you don't keep him the rest of the year. He can't be the coach going forward into 2025.
Well,
and what we saw yesterday was a young quarterback that played his butt off in the second half for the second week in a row and gave this team an opportunity to win. And because they aren't prepared and because they aren't ready to execute, they lose again.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, the Detroit Lions had 279 yards before the Chicago Bears had a first down. Let's understand that a lot of these things don't even come down to the last play or the last possession. But in the case of Matt Eberflus, obviously it works conspicuously against him. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about letting him go, here's what RC and Cam, I would think you would appreciate where I'm coming from with this because y'all played. Football is an incredibly violent sport. Every game, every play, you're putting your body in danger. You're putting your career on the line. And so when you see a coach on the sideline with his headphones on, and it's clear he's looking for instructions as opposed to looking to provide them, he is clueless. He is clueless. What kind of situation does that put your players in? So what I'm saying to you, Cam, I understand from a macro perspective, you're thinking about next season, you're recognizing the talent that you have in it. I'm thinking along the lines of what you all have taught me because of the physicality that comes associated with the game. Because every play, every game, every week matters on your body. It takes a toll. I got to have somebody leading you that has a clue as to what they're doing, if for no other reason than to insulate you from potential excessive danger because they're so clueless they don't know what the hell they're doing. It is clear. There isn't a coach. I mean, have you ever watched national television and seen channel to channel, literally coaches serving as analysts saying, yo, this is bad. He got to go. That's what I saw yesterday. People don't do that. They don't do that to coaches. They did it yesterday because it was clear somebody is in a position they have no business in. You, Kevin Warren, you, Ryan Post, you got to move on from this man. You got to move on from this man, if for no other reason to let your team know we know how clueless this situation is and we've got to rectify it and we have to start now, not at the end of the
Cam, real
season.
quick before you respond, I just want to get Elle and RC on the record. So you guys all agree that he needs to go?
Yes.
RC, you feel like Eberflus?
Yes.
Okay.
Regurgitating the things that has already been said, but to fire him, I think if anything, we've identified that he needs to understand. Every coach has it, and for everybody who has been in this position knows, there has always been the OG coach to the coach, right? When I was in New England, they had a guy by the name of Ernie Adams, Coach Ernie, right? I don't even think he ever coached a position there. But if anything, he coached Belichick in certain situations, in certain scenarios. He was the coach that had direct access to, hey, we need to call a timeout here. Hey, management right here. Hey, we could get a 2-for-1 right here. Hey, these certain things that are happening in a game that I'm looking back at Coach Matt, and I'm saying to myself, who's that guy on your team that's coaching you? Because no matter who you are, you still need to keep your blade sharp. And the thing that I've always respected about Coach Belichick was this. And my brief stint in New England, I call it an internship, but needless to say, he would not just coach individuals, he would coach the team about gotta have it situations and teaching the game as a whole. When you look back at those 46 seconds and the blunder of time right there, it was a lot of cluelessness players that was just walking around as if to say, okay, cool. These things in practice have to be harped on, have to be mentioned, and not just offensively though. The kicker needs to see it. The punter needs to see it. The D tackle needs to see it. The DB needs to see it.
Whose responsibility is it?
That's his responsibility.
Understood.
Ain't that his responsibility?
You're right. You're right. But he's a first-time head coach. That's all I'm saying.
But this ain't his first year.
This is not his first
This ain't
year.
his first year.
RC, every single coach that you named, from Sean McVay on down to everybody else, they did not have a rookie quarterback, bro. Real talk. Sean McVay inherited, certain things of quarterback play. You have a rookie head coach, a young, tenured head. young
Sean McVay got
tenured-
Jared Goff, and we thought Jared Goff couldn't spell Jared Goff at this time. And
Jared Goff didn't
under
play
Sean
early.
He
Goff
played
didn't
as a
play
rookie
early.
he played as a rookie with Jeff Fisher. And then he played the next year with Sean McVay. And we're talking about like Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, he had Kirk Cousins, but now he has Sam Darnold. Like I still think it's not just about whether or not you have a rookie quarterback, right? You have a rookie quarterback in the year that you are tenured, in the year that you just saved your job with Justin Fields, who you jettisoned away to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so it's not, let Caleb Williams be the reason then. If it's about a rookie quarterback, get the timeout, give Caleb Williams the play, give him an opportunity to put you in field goal range, and let him be the reason. Matt Eberflus can't be the reason, Elle.
Yeah, it sounds like what Cam described. He needs someone to help him manage the game a little bit. He needs a babysitter. And the last time we heard of that was a couple of years ago when the Broncos literally had to bring in an efficiency coordinator to help Nathaniel Hackett, who was actually a first-time coach and was struggling in that metric. I just wanted to add this. He came into this season with a very hot seat. He's 14-32 as a head coach. He has done nothing to show that he is capable of turning this thing around. When we talk about Caleb Williams turning things around over the last few weeks and looking better, a large part of that is because they brought in Thomas Brown to change things around or offensive coordinator, and it's seemingly working. But when you talk about, and I just want to end here for my point, I've already started seeing some of this on social media, people going, well, I mean, Andy Reid has been critiqued about his game management throughout his time, and Mike McCarthy, but what they brought you could overlook some of that mismanagement. They brought such incredible schemes to those teams that you could sort of hold your nose a little bit and say, but his benefits outweigh the negatives. And I just don't see that with Matt Eberflus. Everything you described, Cam, is a guy that is not in control of this team.
You don't have to go that far, Elle. Bring about all the names that Ryan Clark brought up. There is not one single coach that we can point to that we've ever accused of this level of incompetence. You did take your time, Cam. I'll wait. Tell me what coach. And I mean, we've seen some awful ones. We saw Joe Judge roll up in New York, okay? We've seen a few coaches over the years that, oh my Lord, their team look awful. Tell me one coach, just one, that we've ever seen look this lost, this incompetent, particularly in late game situations. Take your time, I'll wait.
I'm not a fan of this coach by no stretch of the imagination. You need to be talking to upper management who hired this guy, but I'm speaking from a quarterback to when I'm looking at, longevity here, and we know that Caleb Williams has the talent and skill set to play this game for a long time. I just know what it does for him to start, in essence, all the way over with a new head coach.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of this guy. What I am going to tell you is this. What you have to do, GM, what you have to do, owner, is do more research with the guy that you hire. That's all I'm saying.
The problem
is this.
RC and Cam, can I ask y'all this question? Is it possible? I don't know the answer to this question. This is just a question. I don't know the answer. Is it possible that you can get rid of the head coach just because he has that negative of an effect and don't have a head coach? You got somebody running offense. You got somebody running defense. Is it possible?
No, you need somebody. You need someone to delegate. You need someone to be the guy that's going to make the decisions. You need someone that's going to tell you what the game plan is and how you move forward. But that person doesn't have to be a former head coach. That person doesn't have to be a coordinator. We saw Dan Campbell take over in Miami. You've seen a special teams coach take over in New Orleans and the way that has affected that team. Even if you decide that you don't want to fire him in the middle of the season, we know that he needs to be gone. The problem is this. You knew this was a large possibility when you started the season. You allowed Matt Eberflus to keep his job because of the way the team finished last year, but you knew that things could go sideways and you'd have to move on. So we can't give the excuse that now Caleb Williams has to learn a new plan. Keep Thomas Brown, for God's sake, but you cannot move forward with this head coach in position.
RC, before we go to break, and I only have time to come on you on this, but I'm just curious, was this game and all of an indictment on the Lions that it became that close?
Yes, it was. Yes, the last 2 weeks have been an indictment on the Lions. Still, to me, the best team in the NFL, possibly the best team in the NFC, possibly the best team in football.